Hey guys, Winter Wolf here. Buckle up, but don't worry. I've got extra energy drinks and caffeine pills for you because King Z and I are talking about Ahsoka episode 3 now. Oh, yeah.
We're here.
Oh, we're here. I was confused and looking at the double monitor because my Discord is showing no feed at all. So we're going to do this one blind like we usually do until we sort it out. Dude, what's going on, man? Welcome back. We're going to do Ahsoka episode 3, and I don't think we'll be here long today. What do you think about that? Let's start off real dramatic like.
Well, I think we're already longer than the episode was. But yeah, welcome back. I changed things around. I'm still in the same hotel room, but changed the camera angle, trying to be more active in the camera and not looking at my monitors as much. So here we go.
Yeah, dude, like you said a second ago, and I got to admit, I was kind of shocked when I saw the temporary title that you had thrown in a couple of hours ago. I was like, oh damn, if King Z's coming out with this title, it doesn't bode well for what I'm about to watch. Because I'll be honest with you, I only got a chance to watch this like a couple hours ago. Like I didn't get a chance to watch it yesterday, so I watched it after work today. And I stayed away from the usual places on Facebook, so I didn't get a good read or spoilerage of anything that we were going to expect from the episode. So when I saw your title, I was like, ruh-roh, and then I ran back and changed the thumbnail up a little bit because you hit the nail on the head, guy. Like, I don't know. Like, I won't play the bait and switch. We got scammed card just yet because it wasn't egregiously awful in terms of like production value or like character betrayal. But there's a couple of red flags that definitely went up for me. And I hope this just doesn't wind up being yet another bit of disastrous Disney programming, because I got something to say about, viewership numbers through the first 2 episodes as well. I'll touch on that a little bit, but then, that's a topic for tomorrow on Winter's Watch, guys. So make sure to like tonight's video, comment when we're chatting about Ahsoka, dip out if you haven't seen the episode, and feel free to come back. But then, sub to the channel and ring the notification bell, because we're going to talk at length about how this show is performing tomorrow night on our Winter's Watch show at 9:30 Eastern. But having said all that, King Z, you want to give everybody the timestamps on this, like the length and like what they actually trimmed it down to?
Well, I didn't believe we have time devices that can measure that short of time, but it was roughly 26 minutes between the credits.
Oh, dude, that's like 4 minutes shy of like peak 1990s sitcom, like Seinfeld or Friends or Married with Children.
Actually, it's a little bit longer than that, because remember, those were half-an-hour blocks, so they were set up for like 18 minutes of content.
Oh, true. 12, yeah, that's right.
For like 12 minutes of commercials.
Yeah. Dude, still though, I mean, dude, it's closer to that than it is an episode of the X-Files, and that's a problem.
Yeah,
that's a problem. Big problem here, because I think right from the get-go, as soon as I saw that the timestamp for the episode, the timeline only goes over like 37 minutes, I'm like, yep, that's a 29-minute episode or whatever it is. And I'm like, here we go. Here's the rush job. We're going to rip through one crappy set piece to another. It'll be super predictable. There won't really be any stakes. Nothing will really happen. We'll pursue the MacGuffin for another week. And dude, here we are. Like, that's exactly what happened. Like, this, if ChatGPT wasn't a thing, this is what I would expect a room of like college students to come up with on like a good drinking night, or a bad drinking night, as the case may be. Like, they really did just lift redundant plot points from other Star Wars stories, other sci-fi adventure stories, and just plop them down in here. We're going from point A to point B to get the thing. The development that happens between people in between, completely meaningless at this point. Like, it's boring. And like, I don't care that they break up the monotony of those moments with like more space battle stuff. Like, if the connective tissue is thin, the laser pew pew doesn't work for me as much as you might think it might. What do you think about that? Opening assessment.
I would definitely say that. And you were talking about like, this is a throwback episode to stuff that they've already done in plenty of other Star Wars type things. The dialogue I saw was kind of dry and boring. And the whole point of this episode was nothing. It really had nothing to do with it. They're showing the good guy discovering what we already knew, which we didn't need to see that again.
Right, and they already kind of had suspicions of what was like. They already knew part of what they were hunting down, so it wasn't even a big surprise to them when they finally pull that off. And you know what, dude, let's get the folks up to speed with just a mini synopsis. And I'd be honest with you, dude, this one was so short. I think I have the gist of it off the top of my head, and I probably don't need to call you in full air support on this one. Episode just opens. Sabine's training with Ahsoka. They're trying to get back in the saddle. They're on their way to, parts unknown in pursuit of that last hyperdrive engine that got stolen last week. They're on their way there. They run afoul of a couple of the Baroness's or the Governess's ships. They try to shoot her down. They get partially shot down. They land. They see the ring. What did I miss? Oh, Hera's miniature arc with arguing about sending support for them gets denied by the Senate. High point of the episode, Mon Mothma was there. That was cool, I guess. Like, I like her. You like her from Andor. I mean, that's our Andor plug for the week, right? So, I mean, that works. Like, that it was nice to see the same actress doing the Andor thing. But, like, that's the episode, guy. Like, that's it. They're on their way from point A to point B. They make a phone call to Hera for help. They get the call back. The support's denied. We know Hera's going to go anyway, even though it's not hinted at here. But we know she's going. And the episode ends. They survived their encounter with she is the Baroness, right? Morgan Elspeth is a Baroness, didn't they say that?
Baroness, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They survived her assault team trying to ground her. There were some really weird World War II themed Ryan Johnson style fighter planes, not bombers this time, with the canopy mounted pew-pews. You seen that?
Yeah.
Definitely reminded me of like World War II shit.
Also, the cannons on the hyperdrive ring were like anti-aircraft with the explosion in space with the little flak fire.
Dude, this was Ahsoka :TLJ. Like, it's like Filoni sat down with Johnson and said, "Hey, can I get a list of all that shit everybody hated about your movie about the first 10 minutes? We're gonna put that in an episode." And here we are. Like, that's what this shit felt like. The attack team with the Baroness's, the flight team. 2 of the planes are flown by Shin, and who I guess people think is the 8th Inquisitor from one of the Fallen Order games, like a character that they think died. They think that the guy with the medieval knight helmet thing.
Yeah.
Is apparently, maybe one of those guys. Some people think it's Star Killer from Force Unleashed. I'm like, not a chance. But anyway, they shoot Ahsoka's ship 67,000 times. They reuse footage for that, where they strafe left to right and don't take out that left central engine on the back of the ship. Like, they strafed that thing 15 fucking times and did no damage and landed hits. Well, the
deflectors was at 10%.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's what happened, because we all know those kind of ships just carry massively powered shields and could just deflect blaster shit for forever. You remember the Millennium Falcon taking 75 hits at a time? Nope. When they got strafed in A New Hope, the lights flickered, the power went out, there was fires on the inside, they got wrecked.
Well, right? It's been heavily modified from its original configuration.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, as you can see, King Z is wearing the Writing the Canon for Them hat. You might not be able to see it because our camera feeds are running a little small, and maybe we're in 380p today. You can't see the tinfoil cannon hat he's got on. Dude, I don't want to hate this show. I so don't want to hate it, but it's creeping in already, and it's fast. And maybe it's just because we're coming off Secret Invasion. It was kind of for us, it was a lukewarm affair. It had its crappier parts. It wasn't that good. Most people think it outright sucked, but dude, I don't know. Dude, just draw it. Yeah, I just thought we're a little delayed on the phone stream. But dude, do you think let's put Ahsoka on hold, because we have extra time tonight for sure, because we just basically did the episode. Do you think we're having internally within the Winter Wolf's Den just some lingering burnout from Marvel and others, just Marvel stuff into our Star Wars stuff? Because, I mean, you're talking about this episode was slow. You never talk about slow episodes. It's not in your nature. It's not. We're not even going to we're not doing ratings tonight, because King Z is going to cause some kind of like temporal distortion when he goes, I'm going to give this one about a 2.5 out of 5. Like, fucking the stars are going to align and there's going to be some portal that opens to hell or something. We're not going to risk it. We're not doing it, ladies and gentlemen.
When I was there watching it last night, because I watched it at release last night, and when it was over, and I'm like, and that's it? That was my exact words at the end, was that's it? Because first off,
did you look around? Did you look around the room and like thinking that like the power went out and there was another half, and like you had to go downstairs to like management, like knock on the thing and be like, hey, the internet went out upstairs and 311. I'm watching something.
I stopped it. I was like, I want to see the timestamp. I'm like, I know this wasn't that long. I'm looking, and I see the timestamp of when the first credit roll, and I was like,
yeah,
I stayed up for this.
Yeah, that's what I'm glad. Let me, as another mini side tour. I mentioned X-Files earlier because once again, like I've gone down the rabbit hole of just watching old shows because new stuff is awful. I told you I watched Grimm a couple weeks ago. Not that was ever like a award-winning show, but it was fun. It was politics free. It was entertaining. Dude, I'm watching X-Files right now. I'm on season 2. Over the last 3 days, I watched all of season 1. And dude, you know what? Chris Carter, better writer than anybody writing anything for Disney. Fact. It's just how it is. TV was just better. That was 30 years ago, by the way, mid-90s for X-Files.
Oh yeah, I remember when it came out. It was the hottest thing to watch back in the day.
Right, and it was a banger. Oh, and guess what? It had a diverse cast with powerful, strong, independent women that didn't need no man. So we were already doing that 30 years ago, guys. So go check out the X-Files. It's on Amazon Prime if you got that. Yeah, dude. So I've been watching old stuff. So for me right now, this is yet another show, a modern show with Ahsoka that I'm running along real time, watching while I'm watching something from back in the day. Like that happened with Secret Invasion and Gren. And I'm like, these writers suck. Like, I hope this strike buries them. I hope that whoever gets to program the AI overlords over at Chat GPT, like maybe they feed more of old 80s, 90s, and early 2000s shit in to get the output. Because there's nothing today. And I thought about it. What's out today that's as good as the X-Files in genre? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing.
That's a true statement. Like you're talking about throwing back to old episodes. I started watching Band of Brothers again.
Yep, great series. Great series.
Yeah, I started watching that. I'm through episode 3 of that. Rewatching that, and yeah, I need to find a few other things. I mean, there.
Did you ever watch the other Band of Brothers? They did the follow-up. They did the Pacific.
The Pacific. I watched like
the
first one, and it just didn't have the same feel as Band of Brothers did.
Yeah, that was kind of my take on it too. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't. Yeah. It didn't pull me in like Band of Brothers did.
Like the first episode of Band of Brothers, you started feeling for them because everyone in the military knows a Captain Soto or Sobo. Yeah, Captain Sobo. That guy who's out there. There's a great scene in We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson, and he's there and he's talking to the sergeant major. And they're watching the train, and he's like, that guy wants to win awards. And that guy's a leader when he's checking their socks and their feet while the other guy's like drilling his people. And that's how you feel. Like Sobo's that guy. He's out there. He wants to win awards. But then when the stuff hits the fan, you wouldn't follow him to find water if you're thirsty.
Yep. Yeah, hands down. Yeah, we were young. What was it? We Were Young and We Were Soldiers.
That was the name of the book. That was the name of the book. We Were Young, We Were Soldiers.
Yes.
And then for the movie, it was just We Were Soldiers.
Right. That was the one where the Mel Gibson character, when they were about to head into their first deployment, he said, "I'm the first one off the chopper and the last one in."
Yeah.
To get out or something like that. I'm like, dude, exactly.
My boots would be the first. My boots would be first on the ground, and my boots would be the last one to leave. That was Hal Moore. I met him.
Exactly.
He was in Iraq, my first deployment over there. Colonel Moore he has a presence about him, like the real guy, not Mel Gibson, but even though I have worked with Mel Gibson as well. But
leaders tend to have that.
Yeah, he just has that presence. Like he could strap the uniform back on, grab just a random platoon, and probably win the war. He has just that type of presence, that type of leadership.
Yeah, let me loop that right back around to Ahsoka. There's no character in the show that has that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I thought I would like more of the Ahsoka character with her as like an adult, but the warrior monk thing she's got going on that's very monotone and reserved. There's like no elements of like fun Ahsoka from like Clone Wars and any of the stuff that came between, that and Rebels. Like if she made special appearances, actually, I guess that was it. So by the time she showed up on like the Mandalorian show, she was already the warrior monk, silent type. But that archetype only works if there's another character that gives the rigs to the Murtaugh, to use another Mel Gibson example. Sabine needs to start getting frustrated and doing a little lashing out That way we can see like the passion come up against the reservation in Ahsoka. We need those dueling energies. Right now, everybody's a little too polite and chill with each other, and I'm not feeling any stakes or any tension at all. Dude, let's talk about that training scene at the beginning. Dude, you and I are typically, I would say, moderate fans of nostalgia in most of its forms. We like all our old stuff. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I
Right?
would.
Okay. So in that dueling scene, we get like multiple throws to like A New Hope. We get the blast shield.
Yep.
We get the idea of the training where you have to let go and see with more than your eyes. I think one of Sabine's lines even was, "I can't see. How am I supposed to fight?" It was almost verbatim what Luke said to Obi-Wan, almost
Yeah.
verbatim. And I'm like, and then I'm watching this scene and I'm like, this is clunky as fuck. She's tapping her on the shoulder to make her point, and then 2 seconds later, Sabine's countering to the direction she got tapped in. They speed it up a little, but at no point does like Ahsoka go Kill Bill on the bride on her and like lay her out. Like she disables her at the end with like the weakest foot sweep that you would do on like your 2-year-old nephew move ever. And like then, and she's like, "Oh, you'll get it later," or some shit. Like, the hell is going on here? Like, no, you guys have a history that didn't work out. That should have been the scene to establish a little bit of bad blood or a little competitive spirit, anything. And it was nothing. I felt nothing in that scene. Not a damn thing. Nothing for Sabine that she's failing. Like they've set her up to be a crappy Jedi. That's the character arc.
Yeah.
But also nothing from Ahsoka. Like she's not getting frustrated as the mentor that's still not getting anything out of her student, and she's still not giving more of herself to the student. Like, do something, show. Do something. Anything. Woo,
Yeah,
I'm getting a little fired up. We haven't been fired up like this in a while over a show.
And then you had the second training scene where they're drinking, and she's like, the force runs through all living things, and he's like, but then everyone could use it. He goes, talent is a thing, and he's like, and you just told me I'll probably be the worst Jedi candidate of all, and the robot's like, well, I'm not lying. What I loved was how the robot broke down in key moments at times when the robot would have been like, it was like on cue, like, oh, and then they even made a line like, I could really use you right now, and he's just laid over, and then he comes back up, and then she has to shut him down so he won't have any energy signatures, and then, oh, he's easy to turn back on. Why didn't you just do that when the ship was down, turn him back on, and go, hey, how do I fix this?
Yeah, dude, like, it hurts to have to say it out loud, but I'm like, did nobody think any of this shit through? Not even like for like canonical points of like consistency and things like that, but like you said, there's nobody logic checking things that happen in this show, and when they do, they try to write it around like like you said, like when they shut the robot back down, she quotes some bullshit, Jedi protocol. You've made an entire character arc out of not being a Jedi. What protocol? Like, no, that's something that like Obi-Wan would have said at peak Obi-Wan. He would have said that to Anakin, who didn't want to shut off R2 or some shit. And then Obi-Wan would have been like, oh, no. That's how the Order does things. And Anakin would have been like, okay, master. And then the minute Obi-Wan fucks off, he would have turned R2 back on. You know what I mean? Like, that's the character. We're talking about Ahsoka, who walked away from the Order when they thought she bombed a temple, and like was basically like, "No, I'm out, guys. I'm good. No trust for me. I'm good. Peace. Sorry, I let you down, Annie. I'm out." She's over here citing the rule book. That'd be like if Mulder effing cited the rule book. What? Like what's going? Like, you're right. They make decisions that obviously just justify that nobody could have problem solved that issue with the robot being online. Well, then, dude, then like the scene before when you're getting strafed 55 times by the fighters, you have him take a hit. You have him get electrocuted, for a little bit. And then you have to repair him under duress to get him back online to do the thing you need him to do. Like, you gotta think yourself out of the corner of the story you're telling. You can't just make up a bullshit rule that covers your bullshit, because people smell the bullshit. Dude, I can't.
I never understand the sci-fi trope of you have to get closer to get the better scan. If you can scan it at a distance, then you can scan it. Right. Getting closer isn't gonna help sensor arrays.
It's not how magnification or other pulsing systems work. The only right around for that would be literally if they add the intelligence to say up front, there's a lot of interference. We need to close the gap and boost power or some shit. But then you have to say that, because getting closer.
But
like
if you get me closer, I can
I
get more
scan you in 1,000,000
information.
miles, right? I it's like rookie. It's like it's rookie bush league shit, and I'm like, I can't take it in another show, and like this is it. Like, I think this is it for fucking Star Wars, because Andor will be its own thing that I can enjoy separate from Star Wars, because there are no space wizards, there is no Moff Gideon, there's no Mandalorian, there's no nods to the Empire or the Sith and the Jedi on that show. So it's its own show. But this show, dude, I just don't care now. Like, and it only took one short episode where nothing egregiously awful happened to make me feel that way. That's why I was waiting for the shoe to drop. Right.
But nothing happened. Other than the only thing I did say that was decent about this episode was one, the council meeting, when she calls out the council meeting, like, where were you in the war? That was.
Dude, but see, I didn't even like that.
I did like that.
What did you like about that?
Because she was the only one in her dialogue that actually shows emotion. She shows that shows fire. She was the best actress in that actress through that whole episode. She had the range of emotions. She had what she was trying to do. And then, like, she actually called people out. Like, she used her rank to call out people of the council. And it goes to solidify how weak the new empire, or the new republic is, because they can't get over their own feet.
Freudian slip. Yeah. Freudian slip.
But it shows that this is, and I know what they're trying to do. And it's sad because because the sequel trilogies were so bad, and like people don't understand how it got to where the new
they're filling in that blank.
Yeah, they're trying to fill in that blank, and they're trying, and I can understand if a new government coming in would be weak at first because they're trying to overcompensate for the old boss.
Yep.
And they don't want to become, the old boss is the same as the new boss. No, they want to be that new, like, everybody's equal, no more standing army, no more military resources.
In a best case scenario, plenty of despots take over, after power vacuums, and then they could just go ultra fast, state run fascist. You know what I mean? Authoritarian, totalitarian fascist. You're right. But I could see how the New Republic takes over, like you said. They won a guerrilla battle against the odds, so they would be resource starved. They would be stretched thin with their ability to patrol, provide security, provide secure commerce and things like that. Like, that all tracks. And I think you're 100% right. What I see. Everything you said about that scene from Hera's perspective is true, but I had two major gripes with that scene within the story, right? Number one, Hera's talking about shit she did that we've never gotten to see. Because if this show is the extension of Rebels, for all we knew, the crew of the Ghost fucked off and did nothing after around Rogue One, right before Rogue One. So we never saw anything she did to help fight the Empire after Rebels. So I have to write all that canon in my head, including the birth of her son, I might add. We'll get to that.
Well, unless you count the video games, because she's in the new Starfight, the space combat one.
Squadrons?
Yeah, she's in Squadrons.
Oh, no shit. Okay, then I'll have to go back and re-refer to that, because actually I did not pick that one up.
I'm pretty sure that she gives a couple briefs in that. Like,
okay, she's written into the canon. Okay, then that's cool. So that would have been my first gripe with it. My second gripe with that scene would have been that it's been a while, but I had to blow the dust off the wokeometer a little bit. I'm looking at that council scene, and literally they checked a box for every possible configuration of human being they could have had standing in that array with the alien with the foam head that had no speaking lines. And the only person missing from any of that group was a white male. Like, I'm sorry, but it stood out. It just did, because in a show that only has one white male anyway, who had one line of dialogue at the end of the episode, for what it's worth.
Which I thought that was the other good point. Like, it starts off as a good cliffhanger leading to the next episode, where he's like, they landed in the forest, go kill them, and then they go off.
I mean, they gave him a good line, but like, why wasn't he in the air battle? Like he's like the lead not Sith
Well,
character.
it gives you
Give
another
him more to do.
because it would give you another one of the starfighters that you knew were not at risk.
Yeah, true. But then ditch the guy in the helmet. You know, I mean, I don't care who that is until they reveal who that is.
But if
they ever do,
if he's the true master, the master wouldn't be up there. The commander doesn't fly
unless your name is Vader.
Well,
running that Death Star
and
trench,
he's
shooting down some rebels.
And he came out because he's like, his people were failing. He's like, I'm going to do it myself. Now, if you had the other fighters go, they all get blown out of the sky, and he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And then he comes up and he does his thing. That would be.
They needed to do that then, dude. Stop making this show better. That's what they should have done. And then they still should have failed. That way the good guys could peacefully
we have another throwback to something they've already done. I mean, we already have the map from Force Awakens. We have the training scene from New Hope. Are we going to get someone burned alive in the next one? From Revenge of the Sith?
Yep. Oh, God. Dude, we should keep a running list. That's what we might have to throw together a graphic where we can just keep a scorecard of crap that they recycle, because I'm sure we can. They can recycle aspects of stuff that they're supposed to, like, you know, the rule of two for the Sith is always a master and apprentice. Yeah. That's how that shit works. I'm fine with that, you know. But like you said, even the shootout in the space battle between Ahsoka's ship and the I don't know what kind of ships that were chasing her, but the bad guy's little squadron. We'll just call it Bad Guy Squadron, right?
Yeah.
That mimics two movies at the same time. It mimics the Escape from New Hope, where the Millennium Falcon's fleeing the Death Star, and Chewie and Leia are piloting, and Han and Luke are on the blasters. So we've got that angle going for it, which then they recycled in Force Awakens when it was Finn and Rey escaping TIE fighters from Jakku when they recover the Millennium Falcon. And it's like, it mimics that one more than the New Hope one, where Sabine's terrible at first, like how Rey was terrible at first on the gun, and then how Finn was terrible on the gun. And then Finn sets up for the dramatic J.J. Abrams 360-degree no-scope slow motion blaster. Only in this one, they went with like the strafe shot, and she just like gunned the three of them, you know, laterally, which again, a decent visual. It was kind of a cool shot, but it's like, I've seen everything this show has done before. Not only is the map you mentioned, like just like general fuck all purpose map, it's a map to people, which was the map from A Force Awakens. It was a map to Luke. It's the same. It's not a map to like we said, the Star Forge, or the hidden Katana fleet, or an ancient lightsaber that makes you God or something. Like it's literally, it's like they had Chat GPT synthesize key bullet points from everything they had in Star Wars, and then they just threw darts at the board like a radio station doing draft. Like 96.9 on here does that. And not 96.9, 98.5. Like they put like all the players coming out, and then Felger and Maz on the afternoon show, they just throw a fucking marker at the board, and that's just who they pick for fun. And then they see where the guys go. That's this show. Dude. Mm-hmm. They put 15 plot points on the whiteboard, and they got all the interns in the room to be like, all right, Billy, boop. All right, Stephanie, boop. All right, Yesenia, boop. And that's it. That's how they're doing this show. And I'm all crazy talking with my hands today because this really pissed me off. Really pissed me off. The more I talk about this episode now, I'm more annoyed. Dude, and I just thought of another one for the scoreboard.
What's that?
From Force Awakens. When Rey's in the desert and Kylo Ren tries to run her over with his spaceship, and she jumps and slices a wing off. Ahsoka does this in space, only it's even dumber, because why would that guy have ever flown the ship that close? In space. Why? Why was that a thing? Why did she go outside again? I think I fell asleep. What was the motivation there?
Oh, because the whole ship was disabled, so she was going to be the only defense for the ship.
Oh, God. Dude, stupid. That's just dumb. That's just dumb. You have 4 ships strafe this invincible ship at once and hopefully blow it to bits. Apparently, those laser blasts wouldn't have hurt it anyway, because they landed a bunch and did no damage, except when they shut the battery off, I guess. I don't know. Dude, fuck this show. I think I'm there. It didn't take long. It didn't take long, man. I wanted better. I really did. I don't even like. Did anything else happen on this show?
No,
this
that was.
There were like 4 scenes, dude. That was it.
That was it. That was the entire episode. I was like, nothing actually happened. Yeah, they scanned the ring. They know
they
that
just went from point A to point B.
Yeah,
nothing important happen along the way.
The only other thing that we could point out is that they saw the whales, the hyperspace whales, the same ones that the same one
Ezra and Thrawn.
Yeah, did the Thrawn.
Ezra and Thrawn from
and
Rebels.
That's why this is the perfect time to go find Thrawn, because they're going to go with their migrational pattern, and that's what that whole link is their ancestral migration pattern. So they're going to hop on with those and use the super hyperdrive thing to follow them.
So it's an ultra mega hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Great. Now it's the Power Rangers. Fan-fucking-tastic. I can't even do it. Do we know for a fact now how many episodes we have of this shit? Is next week the halfway point? Is it only 8?
I think it's 8, yeah.
Okay. So halfway point. Thrawn and Ezra, Thrawn or Ezra, neither. What happens next week?
Episode 4 we're supposed to see the first sighting of Thrawn, like his first, like he'll probably close the show.
Because you've seen the trailer, or this is a guess? This is your King's prediction for the week?
These are some of the different articles I've read throughout the day.
Oh, okay.
Because they're saying episode 5 is like an hour and a half long. And it's going to be the flashback episode.
This is so hardcore Ezra stuff?
No, this is when we're going to see Anakin. We're going to see Hayden Christensen back as Anakin.
The Ahsoka's flashback.
Yeah, it's trying to fill in her gaps a little bit. So something's going to happen to her in episode 4 where she's probably going to get incapacitated, be nursed back to life by Sabine, and so that's probably it. They're going to be hunting him down. She gets hurt severely in the battle to defend them. They get into space, and then episode 5 will be the flashback why she's coming in and out of consciousness, trying to link everything together.
Interesting.
At least that's my take.
Some fan ideas. No, dude. But again, I think that's it's a logical progression. I think of the story that they've set up. I think for me, I'd like to see a slight variation on that theme. One of the episodes that we admired for what it did, but didn't understand its place or its purpose was the Bill and Frank episode of Last of Us. Yeah. I would actually like for them to take that idea and throw that into an episode 5 here. I wouldn't mind like a encapsulated episode of live action Ahsoka with live action Anakin before he turns, if that's elements of the flashback, and seeing a little bit more how that happened if they had one more encounter. I don't know, because there's no canon there for them to break.
That's exactly how they put in the article. Is like they need that Bill and Frank episode to put them over the top.
And I think particularly because the problem with the Obi-Wan show was nobody needed to see Vader face Obi-Wan ever again, because they handle that in episode 4. When last we met, blah, 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 blah. You ruined that with the Kenobi show. But Ahsoka and Vader, you can throw anything else in there because it's never happened before, and they don't meet again in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So they could show me anything else that happened with them when they were younger, leading into the rise of the Empire on the Death Star, like in that earlier time frame. They could do anything they want. So I mean, they have complete creative latitude to do that, and I'll stick around for that. But if it's going to be a thing where Sabine has to nurse Ahsoka back to health or whichever, where do they make that happen? They're already on a downed enemy world with a semi-disabled ship. If there's a battle, are they captured and they nurse her back? Like it would be a jump. They're going to have to write themselves out of some shit if they go that route, I think. It won't be easy.
Yeah, well, they've been doing acrobats, and they had a short episode, so they have to come out bigger next time. But with that said, I had a point that I was going to make.
Damn it.
And I lost it. Oh, I'm getting old.
No, that was me, dude. I was about to ask another question about episode 4.
Go ahead. It might come back to me.
I was going to ask you, but given the short runtime of this week, do you think we get another 37-minute job next week, or are we back with a slightly longer runtime? Kind of like a Secret Invasion pattern a little bit.
I think this is what we're going to see until episode 5. Like I think
37 to 38 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, with credits, because this one was like 30.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
36 with credits, but if you count out the opening sequence,
the
flat or the recap, and then the little part where it tells us that it's Ahsoka, like we didn't know what show we clicked on, and then then the 5.5 minutes of closing credits.
Yeah, dude, it's brutal, dude. It's brutal how much time that they waste with this up against their total storytelling run. Dude, for the life of me, I just don't get it. Like, I don't understand the obsession with only doing the 8 or the 10 episode season. And every time someone tries to tell me it's a cost consideration thing, I'm starting to think that these people are crazy, because it's like, if you just made 2 or 3 less crappy shows on your streaming platform that nobody would watch, you'd have the money to give me 18 episodes of a show I would watch, of a formerly marketable IP like Star Wars or something out of Marvel. You know what you don't do if you're the MCU? You don't do She-Hulk season 2, because I'm here. There's rumors all over the place that now that's a thing in development. I'm like, why? Why would you make a She-Hulk season 2 or Ms. Marvel season 2 when they or Secret Invasion follow-up when they occupy the 3 bottom spots on your all-time watch minutes? Why would you do that? No, don't do that. Dump all that money into Daredevil or Blade or Captain America or whatever. Make less crap and give me 15 or 16 episodes of whatever Star Wars thing they're out of shit I want them to do. I don't know what else I'd want them to do out of Legends. Like maybe Rogue Squadron, maybe a series of just like fighter pilot battles, something like that part. You remember that old show Space Above and Beyond on Fox from back in the day? Just only the pilot parts, nothing on the ground, no politics, none of that. Just literally the space combat shit, and or Battlestar Galactica, like when they're up there running combat patrols and doing rescue missions and surgical strikes and shit. Like, give me that. I'll watch that. But dude, I don't know,
like the Ranger show that they try to plan.
Yeah. Funny how that works, isn't it? Or the Rogue Squadron movie that they canceled because Patty Jenkins got exposed for not being able to write. That's too bad, but still, I still would have seen somebody else make that movie. That's interesting. But let's talk about the other crap that we forgot about in the show, because just remembered I mentioned it. So when did Hera have a kid, and why did they use the name Jason? Like, could they literally have not picked any other fucking name? Like, we get it. You're trying to include shit you should have from Legends into the sequel trilogy era. Jason Solo, anybody? But that's not him. It's not the same character. Here you go. What's up with that? Any name they could have picked. Could have called him Billy. I
am not familiar with the Rebels, how it ended. I never finished it. She
has no kid.
Yeah, but was she was someone like her boyfriend or anything like that? Was she involved?
Kanan was her. She loved Kanan, but they never had the chance to really get together that way.
Okay.
Towards the end of the episode, it was the will they, won't they, and it was they will. But then he had to, spoiler alert for you guys, he sacrificed himself in a pretty badass way to save everybody else, which they then ripped off in Mandalorian season 3. When Baby Yoda saved everybody from the fireball at the end. Remember when the shit was collapsing and all, and he forced it all? Yeah, actually, Kanan did that first at a nuclear reactor, and it was pretty badass. He saved Ezra doing that. He went out like a boss. Boss mode activated. Haven't heard the guy's name once from Hera. Why? That's another thing that sucks about this so far.
Well, this is. I mean, they just came out of a war. There's been no real call to it. There's nothing that would would she just bring up in casual conversation? Hey, remember when my ex-boyfriend sacrificed himself?
Dude, why? Dude, she could have said it to the damn senator. And men like you are in power because men like the father of my child gave everything. Could have Luthen railed his ass with the speech.
Yeah,
just saying.
But she's no soft.
Dude, quiet moment with Sabine. Sabine wants her friend Ezra back. Hera's mourning the 30-year ago loss of the love of her life kind of thing. Dude, not just throwaway line. Just mention him. Mention Zeb. Mention the purple guy, for fuck's sake. We know he's in universe.
Yeah. We saw him out in the Ranger world.
And he'll be here soon then. That'll be a mysterious save at the halfway point. That will be a thing. Because you don't put him in Ranger World in Mando 3 if you're not going to bring him back. And it means you've cast him and you've done the effects. Why would you only do it unless it was another member of his race and not Zeb? I don't remember if they used the name or not in Mando 3.
I think they did, because everyone tied him to Zeb too. Yeah, because everybody tied him to Zeb. So
yeah. Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know what else we can say about Ahsoka going forward. I think somebody needs to have like that emotional outburst and just like put everybody on notice.
All right.
Like, hey, this is what we're up against. Shit needs to explode like now.
And here comes the King Z writing moment of the night. The what I was thinking about that I lost and
Here we
now
go.
it's back. Was I think when she's going through the flashback, she's gonna come out a more aggressive Ahsoka. Like she's gonna finally put that what's been eating her and caused her to go so reserved. I say reserved. She's gonna find that she's gonna have to release it of what she was and how powerful she was and why she was chosen to be trained with Anakin, who was a very force powerful person. So I think the flashback is gonna lead to her coming out, and then it's like she's gonna be like the badass once again that she was.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't turn her into like a Mary Sue badass, the only reason nobody calls this character that now is because we've seen the arc that ended her up being this powerful. You know what I mean? If this was a new character from Jump, she'd get all the same Mary Sue accusations that Rey gets. So I mean, I don't need to see her be any more badass than she is in action, but in like personality and in toning, emoting, and just being more emotionally vested in what's going on. You know, that's the badassery that I need to see. We already know she's hacking wings off of spaceships at, in 0G.
Yeah.
Like that I'm good with.
But
so
you're gonna see the emotion part come out of her. Like she's calm,
right.
she's reserved. You're gonna see a more emotional dynamic from her.
Like if we can springboard off of your idea for like that, like if she comes out of this flashback and they have the final training sequence with Sabine, but they're not using wooden sticks, they're using sabers, and that shit gets heated, and Sabine maybe gets that lucky angle in where she forces Ahsoka to yield. That's the moment I'm looking for in the show. It's all grunty and sweaty and ugly, and like they're not pulling any punches, and maybe Ahsoka force shoves her or something. Like it gets like a borderline dirty brawl for a minute, but because Sabine's a tough Mandalorian chick, she doesn't let up, she doesn't back down, and then that honors both of these characters to their full potential. And then of course we make up, and our differences are our differences, and then we go kick Thrawn's Imperial Inquisitor, Grand Admiral ass, or whatever they got going on. I guarantee they have at least one major fuck up left that makes me mad. At least one big one. I can just kind of feel it, But I don't know, guys. I honestly, like, I want to wrap this one up because it just wasn't long enough to split any more hairs. But I don't want to give this show a numeric rating because there's not enough stuff of substance that happened here to rate. I mean, do we rate the lack of substantial stuff as the score? Because then it is a 2 out of 5. Like I wasn't impressed. I've seen every action thing they did. I've seen it elsewhere multiple times. So I don't know how to rate it. Like I'll leave it to you. You can do a 5 scale, a 10 scale, A through F, S tier, whatever.
It doesn't matter to the scale. It's always going to be a 1.
Oof, ouch! All the way down. Dude, you've never handed out a 1 score in anything we've covered. Not a single thing.
Like this episode was just disappointing. After the first 2 episodes got me like, okay, they could actually be doing something with this. It's going to be good. Yep. It could bring Star Wars back because that's all I really want is Star Wars back. And then this episode happens, and it's like,
I mean, dude, did we read the first 2 episodes wrong? Because I'm on YouTube all the time. Like I watch a lot of stuff, from my work at home, right? And a lot of people were saying, I think what you and I said about this episode, but they've been saying it from Jump, that the pacing is slow and nothing happened. And I'm like, maybe just because you and I write, we understand the value of world building and setup and like laying threads for future payoffs and Chekhov's guns here and there and thing like that. So like, maybe we weren't phased by slow initial pacing, but I mean, I feel like we called out some slow pacing for Andor episode 1 and 2, and then they dropped that whole sister thing and business picked up. So I genuinely don't think we were wrong about our assessment about episode 1 and 2. It didn't
not at all
feel woke to me. It wasn't a girl boss show. It wasn't slow. They broke up some action set pieces with stuff I wanted to see to get back in the swing of Rebels. Mm-hmm. There were a couple of dumb things that happened, like Sabine trying to punch a battle droid in the face with her bare hand and it not breaking, or when it has her in a bear hug, it didn't just crush her. You know what I mean? Like there's some dumb shit that happens in these kind of shows, but I don't mind that stuff so much because those aren't the big breaks in like story logic.
Yeah.
But here it's kind of like, all right, well, we did the hyperspace thing, we did the space battle, we did the training scene, we did the argue with the council about not sending backup that we know Hera's going to bring anyway. Like it's the same bag of tricks to it. Maybe it is a one out of whatever. Maybe it is. I think I agree with you.
This is.
I might actually take a point off.
So if I had to put it into a story, and I know you haven't read the series, but the book series, The Land.
That's one you've mentioned a couple of times. Yeah.
There's a chapter in the last book that is out. I mean, he's still working on book 9, and this was book 8. That it was pretty much 2.5 chapters of him having diarrhea.
Yeah, see.
You don't need that. It has nothing to do. I know you're trying to go to keep it light and keep it funny, but you didn't need this episode. This episode needed something more to push it over. Like, okay, you discovered that they had this big super ring, and for some reason you needed closer scans of it. You know what it does because you've already got the power signature for it, so you know what it can.
And they have device. We know that they have hyperspace jump rings. Like they know what it is just by looking at it.
Yeah,
it's a Death Star hyper ring. It's just a bigger thing. That's Star Wars stuff. They just make a bigger version of the thing they had. That's exactly what it is.
And that's exactly what's going to come out of the scan. They're like, it's the size to jump a super Star Destroyer in.
Right, it's a super hyper mega ring. Right, exactly. And they'll call it something stupid like that. Yeah. I think you're right, man. This episode, literally, like if we load it up into whatever crappy editing thing you use that's too complicated for me, so I stick to the chump version of whatever I use. In the editing bay, I feel like we could cut out the 4 like key scenes here and just put them in other episodes as like transitional or connective scenes in those episodes. The training sequence could just be in another episode. The lone space battle that they had when they get chased on the way to something, another episode. Hera's phone call to the council, another episode. That's it. Like those 3 things could just be interconnective scenes in episodes 4 and 5 and 6 or whatever. You know, like they just took all the leftover scenes and threw it together and called it episode 3. Is what this feels like. It feels like a Seinfeld like clip show. It's, hey, here, we're doing cool shit over here. We're doing shit with the council over here. We're pew-pews in space. Oh, they did have A-Wings at the beginning of that scene, though. Did you notice? There was a squad of blue A-Wings in the New Republic before the Hera scene. I was like, oh, shit, A-Wings. If Josh is listening, yeah, dude, they had A-Wings in this one. Sweet. Anyway. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I think I'm done with talking about this show. My guy, you got anything else for this show? Can we get out of here?
No, we didn't go. We didn't go.
Guys, yeah, give everybody the appreciation.
Our show on the show lasted longer than the show did.
Which has never been good in the history of any of our reviews. Like they go longer the more disappointed we are, which is weird. It shouldn't be that way, but this is every week episode of anything Marvel I've ever seen, or the lower quality episodes of The Last of Us. So give everybody our farewells and our please likes and do that stuff. I gotta shut up for a minute.
That's once again, because we will be here again next Wednesday. As we talked about episode 4. Hopefully it's better than episode 3. That's every Wednesday night at 9:30 Eastern. But if you want to hear us talk more about stuff going on in the entertainment world, all nerdum stuff, we've talked about games, we've talked about role-playing games, we've talked about movies, we've talked about TV shows. If you want to see what we're going to talk about next, tune in at Thursday night at 9:30 Eastern as we take down the biggest topics of the week. Please like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the high quality content that we're putting out. And we will see you again on the flip side.
Dude, hit the ejection button. Come on here, folks.